That's the theme of the night, what we do for Stephen. All right, so Wandila, not everybody knows you. Tell us, where are you from?
I'm from Durban, South Africa.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Anybody else? South Africa? Anybody? Yeah, you're the only one. Okay. So that's awesome. South Africa. It's summertime right now in South Africa. Do they have winters like this in South Africa?
No, I think we'd all die.
Yeah. Is this your first real winter experience?
Well, for some reason I chose to go to college in Michigan.
Oh, well, that does it. Did you go to Andrews?
I went to Andrews, so this is summer for me.
This is summer. This is absolutely summer. I have trauma from opening the door when I studied in Michigan. And there's things called snow drifts. Have you heard of this? Where the drifting snow just kind of continues. I opened, it was my first time in a winter like this. I opened the door and snow was like, up to my chest. And I'm not exaggerating. I wish I was exaggerating. I have pictures. I have proof.
Did you ever travel through buildings just to avoid the snow at Andrews?
Oh yeah, all the time. All the time.
Part of the biology department.
Yeah. Okay. See, the trigger. We should have given a trigger warning before we started talking about Andrews. Anyway, how did you end up in New York? What brought you to New York City?
I'm working on a startup called the Anti-Racist Hot Dog in New York City. So that's why I'm
Has anyone here had that anti-racist hot dog before? Anybody? I hear they're delicious. Unlike those little chalk hearts, these are actually pretty good. Steven talked about having them just the other night.
Yeah, we have
You have them weekly. None of us are invited. What's going on? Where do you have these anti-racist hot dogs that are so delicious and nutritious?
the Upper West Side. I think they needed more that side than here.
Okay, all right.
Seems like everyone's been eating the racist ones here. We're here for you.
I don't even know what that means. I'll have to start checking my hot dog content before I. Okay, very nice, very nice. You're gonna share with us something with us tonight?
Yeah, Stephen told me yesterday to share a poem, and I remember in grade 1 there was a poem that I read once.
Right.
So I'll share that poem with you guys today.
Give it up for Wandila.
So the poem is called I Wonder. And again, last time I read this poem was in grade 1, so bear with me. It says, I wonder why the grass is green and why the wind is never seen. Who taught the bird to build a nest and told the tree to take a rest? Or when the moon is not quite round, where can the missing bits be found? Who lights the stars when they blow out and makes the lightning flash about? Who paints the rainbow in the sky and hangs the fluffy clouds so high? Why is it now, do you suppose, that Dad won't tell us if he knows? I wonder. So that's the poem that I learned in grade 1. And thank you. You remember the poem? And we were setting this up when Stephen told me, and I looked up this poem. It's interesting, when I read this poem, it's brought me back to the 7-year-old me. And the feeling, the emotions, the nostalgia, I realized that when I read this poem, I was excited about the world. I was excited to grow old and make a difference. This is like post-apartheid South Africa. I learned about Nelson Mandela. I wanted to, go on and change the world. And there was a lot of exciting things I was looking forward to. We would go to disco nights with my friends and dance. I was a huge Usher fan, just like Michael Jackson at the time. And brought back all those memories, and I realized that I owe it to myself today to still have that spark that 7-year-old had. So I'm going to read this poem again and then reflect on it as a 28-year-old, sorry. I wonder why the grass is green and why the wind is never seen. Who taught the birds to build a nest and told the trees to take a rest? Or when the moon is not quite round, where can the missing bits be found? Who lights the stars when they blow out and makes the lightning flash about? Who paints the rainbow in the sky and hangs the fluffy clouds so high? Why is it now, do you suppose, that Dad won't tell me if he knows? I want to zoom into the last part of this poem. Why is it now, do you suppose, that Dad won't tell me if he knows? When I read this poem, it's reminded me of J. Cole's Forest Hill Drive, if I'm not mistaken. There's a song where he goes, somebody should have told me to be like this, be like this, be like this. And I've lived my life to adulthood, young adulthood, thinking to myself, like, man, like, I wish someone had told me I was going to go through this and this and that. Do you guys ever feel that? And like, maybe if I knew, heartbreak would be this painful, I would have done it a different way. And when it says, why is it now, do you suppose, that Dad won't tell me if he knows? And I spoke to my cousin, who's a poet, and then she said, well, now you're the father figure. What would you say to that 7-year-old? So I wrote some notes on what I would say to the 7-year-old. If you guys would let me share. Why are you so quiet? Let me just open my eyes. So, you'll make an impact on people's lives and lose those who made an impact in yours, but keep wondering. You'll be ridiculed by those who call themselves your own and lose close friends for standing up for what's right, but keep wondering. You'll talk too fast or too much with an audience of strangers who want to hear you say poetry. You'll never be smart enough, tall enough, light-skinned enough for certain people. But to him who created you, you'll always be perfect. You'll see some of your black brothers be murdered, and the people who claim to believe in the same God as you turn a blind eye in the name of politics as an excuse, but keep wondering because you don't believe in a God of hate. You'll have teachers that will tell you you'll never amount to anything. In fact, they'll be precise and say you'll end up selling tomatoes in the streets. But keep wondering because it won't be tomatoes that you sell in the streets, it will be anti-racist hot dogs.
Amen.
And wondering is what's going to keep you sane, wondering is what's going to keep you inquisitive, wondering is what's going to keep you creative. The world as is, you should never accept. Continue to fight for the world as it ought to be, because that's where joy and love is found. Oh, before I end, when you turn 25, you'll be a TEDx fellow. You'll be given 2 tickets to go to the Global Citizens VIP, and you'll meet your current idol right now, Usher Raymond the Fourth. Thank you.